Hey, welcome to Newbies to Movies. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Justin.
Welcome to our podcast where we like to talk about new movies that we're watching based around a certain theme, actor, actress, or director. With this week's theme being director Steven Spielberg, one of the greatest of all time. Very robust, and wide directed movies. He directed 47 different movies. But before we get into that, we're going to get into a little game that we'll play, which is Keep Four and Cut Four, where we're each going to say 8 movies based around a certain category, and then we get to decide which ones we'll keep, which ones we cut, and then also guess which the category is. Do you want to go first, Justin, or do you want me to?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So we'll start off with Aladdin, the original, the animated one.
You said it's just random. So I think I'm going to cut this one.
Okay.
I like Aladdin. It's not one of my Disney movies, you know? It's not one of them where it's close to my heart. It wasn't something that growing up I wasn't like, put on Aladdin. It was like, I watched it a couple times. That's about it.
I got you. So next one I have is Donnie Darko.
Wow. Yep. That's quite a different.
Took a turn there.
We did this on this podcast and I can't remember how I rated it. I think I put it, but think for Donnie Darko. Dude, that's hard. Think I'm going to go.
Okay. 2 cuts.
Yep.
All right. I think I have a keep here for you. I'm going to go Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh, yeah. Easy. Keep. Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah. Next, I'm going to go ahead.
I actually, for my Christmas, like half my decorations on my Christmas tree are Harry Potter related. So that's how much I love Harry Potter.
Okay. Next, I'm going to go Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Great. Let's do another keep. 2 and 2.
Okay. Now,
What's this about?
I'm going to go Billy Madison.
Billy Madison.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just make it.
I'm going to cut again. Wasn't one of those. I liked it. Thought it was funny. But for Adam Sandler films, I was more of a Happy Gilmore kind of guy.
Gotcha. Next, I'm going to go Ted.
What are you doing? I'm going to cut. It's
Okay.
risky.
So you're out of cuts.
Yep.
So our next one, which I think you would keep this one anyway, is Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy.
But yeah, I would keep that 100% anyways.
And then your last one is Horton Hears a Hoot.
Okay. I probably wouldn't have.
If you could have swapped one, which one would you have swapped?
Probably Aladdin with Horton Hears a Who.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any guesses on what the category is?
The Forrest Gump is the one throwing me off.
That's what's throwing you off? We have Donnie Darko, Ted, and Horton Hears a Who on the same list.
Like, how niche is this? How niche is the category?
It's not niche. It's just like, you got to like think for a minute.
I think I'm thinking too deep with it.
Maybe
that's why I
too
think
deep.
Forrest Gump.
It's not that hard. It's just like tricky.
Because is it like, Darko's not PG, is it? No, Ted definitely is. Is it like,
You're thinking too much, dude. I'm staring you in the face.
yeah, I have no idea. If anything, I'd say like the main character is talking to something that isn't actually there.
No, dude. The main characters' names are all in the title.
Well, that is, damn it.
You're thinking
That is a good one. Yeah. I was almost right with the other one though.
I knew as soon as I said Donnie Darko right after Aladdin, you were going to be like, what is going on? Two like out of the ordinary movies.
Okay. Interesting. All right. You ready for me? All right. The first one is Hunger Games.
Okay. I'm going to be honest. I'll probably get the hate for this one, but I'm going to cut that. I'm not a fan of the Hunger Games movies. Just never really drew my attention. That's literally it. They're great. Like they're well done. Big franchise. I just not my thing.
Next one is To Kill a Mockingbird.
I'm going to keep this one. I think the book's better, but it's a good movie.
Yeah. We're forced to watch it too.
Yeah.
Third one is Dracula's by Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this one. So I'm going to keep it.
Okay. The next one is Jurassic Park.
We're like about to do Steven Spielberg, and I'm going to look like a hater if I cut this. I'll take keep.
And then next is The Help.
We cut it.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, but I know that there's something waiting for me.
The next one is Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to cut it too, because I think you're saving something.
Next one is Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. I'll keep that.
Yeah. And then the last one is Social Network, which you have to cut.
Yeah. Dang, that sucks. Hold on here.
I put a lot of good movies though.
Yeah. I mean, you could make an argument for all these being keeps, honestly.
Yeah.
What the hell is your genre? Social Network is throwing me too. Is it setting related?
No, like where
I
the
thought
movie's
Forrest
set.
Gump might have. Yeah, I thought Forrest Gump might have.
I was
I
like,
have no idea. It wouldn't have shocked me, honestly, but
just like a little, like 10 minutes. I saw dinosaurs, didn't I?
yeah, I'm lost. You'd have to give me this one.
Okay. It's movies based on books.
I literally, my God,
Yeah.
that's so annoying. I didn't know The Social Network was a book, but I
Yeah.
knew, yeah, everything else was. That sucks. And I was thinking that with the first two. I was like, oh, how funny. Maybe he's going to do Hunger Games Mockingbird. And then it'll
Yeah.
be like, they all have a bird whistle or something in them. I don't know. And I was like, damn, that sucks. Okay, that's good. That was a good pull.
I think you did a good keep 4, cut 4, but honestly, you could swap out for some of them more than.
Yeah.
It's hard.
The mine that I gave you, there was definitely some where it's like, yeah, you got to cut that.
Yeah.
But yours is good. That was tough. I knew something was coming.
Cool. So this week's movies or theme is Steven Spielberg. Like I said at the beginning, he is one of the GOATs. In my opinion, he's done so many different movies, really like set the genre forward for like blockbusters and everything and how he does it and how like he puts together movies too. He's from Ohio. So shout out Ohio. I'm an Ohio guy from Cincinnati, grew up there, pretty sure grew up in like a very Jewish type of family. And as well as he started making movies while he was relatively pretty young. I mean, he's been making movies that came out in the 70s and still does today. So he's just had such a long career. And the movies that we chose this week were The Schindler's List and The Fabelmans, mainly because these, I think, are the two biggest movies that we haven't seen from his genre that have really like been a telltale sign of like his career. And after watching them, I think they're very personal movies for him as well, based off of like the fact that he is Jewish. So I think that it's also very interesting as well. What do you think about Steven Spielberg?
Yeah. Obviously everybody knows, the big ones, E.T., Jaws, Jurassic Park, that the main big franchises and everything like that. So it was really cool this week to kind of sit down and dive into personal stories like you were talking about. One being about, obviously just, everything that happened with the Jews in Germany, but also the Fabelmans being, kind of inspired by his story growing up. And it definitely dives into him being Jewish in that movie as well. But I think obviously one of the best directors of our time, and he's really still cooking. So
yeah. He's amazing. It's really interesting to just see like how different parts of his career goes, starting off with Jaws. I mean, that was the movie that created what we know as blockbusters now. And the fact that he also came out like blockbusters after that, it's actually insane if you look at his entire filmography. As we get into it later, we're going to be ranking it. We're going to be all over the place because you couldn't go wrong with like honestly his top 10. You could go in any order. So it will be interesting to see what we end up getting to. Oh, the way that we're going to do this is going Schindler's List first and then The Fabelmans, the two movies that we chose this week, mainly because it came in order of release, but also I think you could talk about a movie that he based off of something that he didn't have a personal experience with, but his family did. And then the movie based, not a biography movie per se, but very much esque. It's about how he grew up and what he inspired to. Starting off with Schindler's List, man, this is a hard movie to talk about just because it's a super emotional movie, very real. And again, you can just tell how personal this movie is to him with his entire life itself, or like just like the way that it affected his family. I mean, his parents were Jewish. His mom actually grew up teaching kids about the Holocaust. So I think that, again, why I think it's so personal. But this movie itself, it's about Oscar Schindler, and then he is a member of the Nazi party. But throughout the movie and throughout like World War II, you can see how his view of the Nazi party diminishes while also being empathetic towards Jewish people and really taking it pretty much his entire life away to save people, which is really like heroic in his terms and honestly risky at that time. Like he could have easily been himself killed. So it starts off with like him getting his background of like why he was so rich, why he was established in it. It starts off really interesting where he's at like this party with a bunch of Nazi officials and then like just makes friends with them by buying them drinks and all this stuff and having a good night with them. which just tells throughout the movie how much of an established man he is, very respected, and as well as like always has himself together. Like the whole movie, he has himself together, never loses that side of it. You never see him drunk. Like every other character you can see in this movie has very drunk parts to it, very emotional parts. They act on emotion while he does not. Yeah. So I gave the plot personally 10 out of 10 because a lot of these movies seem to not go in depth with like the main character. It's really hard to talk why I like the plot so much, but just to say it's like over a 3 hour movie. Yeah, I was engaged for the whole thing. And by the time it ended, it didn't even feel like 3 hours. Most movies that are this long feel that long. This movie did not feel that long. I was surprised that it was 3 hours. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this movie was draining in the best way possible. It covers every corner of everything that happened. Like there was no missing points to the story, no missing points to Oscar Schindler, no missing points to the Nazi general. I forgot his name. He was really great, well acted in this movie. But just overall, like the plot was thorough and dove into. And I mean, there's some scenes where we just, watch people getting on the train for 10, 15 minutes. And it's just like, wow, like, and it really sits with you. And it's stuck with me ever since watching it the first time, probably 8 years ago when I watched it, and watching it again, it just hit even harder somehow, but it was intense.
Because I bet watching the second time, you notice stuff that you probably noticed beforehand.
Yeah.
And again, like at the beginning, it seems like he's wanting certain help from Jewish people just as like they think he has like experience working with some of them. He's getting like, what's his name of his, like the person that's in charge of like his finances and everything, Stern. He's really trusting like his word on everything. But then you could see like, especially after like they put them all in the camps, is like his total perspective towards the Nazi party and actually being empathetic, like totally changes. And the moment, like, so the movie's black and white, and then there's specific imagery with like the red coat of the little girl. So you see her like running through like the street and all that. But then the moment that he sees her, like during like the burning stage where like they decide to just burn a lot of bodies, you could see also he loses his composure just a little bit and almost like gets caught a little bit being empathetic towards the Jewish people, which none of the Nazi party was supposed to be. And from that point on, that's where he pretty much risked everything for his life for trying to save as many people as he possibly can.
Because you kind of see him. Sorry, I was just going to say, you kind of see him struggle early in the movie with, the risk of saving himself, of course, saving other people. And that was a real turning point for him, to turn on jets basically and just be like, all right, it's all hands on deck. Got to do whatever I got to do to save one more.
Yeah. Oh, that was a turning point in the movie, the climax, whatever you want to call it, where once that happened, that's really where he gets the idea for the list as well. Because once he hears them moving, that's where he ends up making it based off of the people that he knew worked with him. But also Stern was pretty much the one coming up with the list at the end of the day, because he came up with like the first couple names, but Stern was just, he's like, put as many as you can. And then, and then he even saves like the housemaid of the colonel or general or whoever. He was played by Ralph Fiennes, which is also interesting. Yeah, I thought it was a very good flow for the plot itself. It really dove into like in depth about like how Polish during World War II was treated, the Jewish people, all that. And like the last 30 minutes of this movie just like, I mean, if you're not crying, then like you don't really have a soul, because like it just makes you tear up almost every time, I feel like, because it's just so sad. But like he finally lets loose, which getting right into characters, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I mean, Oscar Schindler himself, what an amazing human being to like risk his life for everything. He's the only part of the Nazi party that was like established by the Jewish community, and they laid his body in Jerusalem because that's how much he saved generations of Jewish people by his actions, which he did not need to do. He could have died for it and everything. So I think it's just, really well done. Really good character. And what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it was just crazy to watch somebody just be turned from a very selfish person, right? Very self-centered on his business, sleeping with a lot of different women and cheating on his wife.
Yeah.
To completely 180 and just completely be selfless, as going as far as risking your own life to save all these people. What a smooth talker. Like you could just see so many occasions like him just get out of really sticky situations by just having that charisma and that charm. And I think Liam Neeson playing that role was perfect in that sense.
Yeah. No, this is definitely a standout performance by Liam Neeson. I mean, he's like the main Tyler character of the movie. Way different movie for him too. Like I've known him for doing like more action roles, like in Taken and all that kind of stuff. And really, Oscar Schindler himself was way he could get away with all this stuff. What's just bribing, talking. The dude could just talk his way through any kind of maze. I mean, that's part of his business, why he was so good and why he had so much money in the first place. But then almost lost it all. Photography, I gave it a 9 out of 10. For being a black and white movie, it was still shot beautifully with like some really impactful scenes. And again, with like the red like coat of the little girl, I think was also like, makes sense. Like again, there's like the turning point of the movie, really iconic. Yeah.
Some of the, an interesting thing I read about was Spielberg decided to go with black and white as he didn't want to like romanticize anything that was going on. So the idea to use like the red coat when some of the Jewish people were gathered around lighting a candle, you see that was, and like, you know, fire orange when everything around it was black and white. So some of the beautiful things right in the movie were kind of taken into color, not to romanticize the rest of the stuff. And unfortunately, the young girl passed away that was wearing the red coat, but obviously to show that turning point for Schindler, and kind of just all in mentality.
I did enjoy that they did not make it color, because again, I think if they did show color, then it would show like the blood and all that. And I think that takes away from the point of it.
Yeah.
Is that so impactful even without showing all like the blood and just horribleness of everything? Rather you focusing on like the effects of like the humans and like what's been being talked about and like survival emotions. Getting into that dialogue, I gave it a 10 out of 10 because I really enjoyed the way Oscar talked. It was very smooth and it made sense for his character when he does switch that point and why he was able to keep all those people alive, create his own camp, big quotation marks camp, because they didn't produce anything and he was just keep them all alive on his own dime, of why he could get away with that for so long and do that for himself. Because it builds up to like how well he talked with everyone and how he has like such a facade up and like a wall up with like the other, with one side with the other. I mean, he's at like a party with all Nazi, everyone else there is part of the Nazi party. And then he instead goes down in the basement and talks to the maid to make sure she's okay. And like to let her have a little bit of release because he just knows what she's going through.
And that's so risky for him.
Like if they walk down,
go ahead.
If they walk down and then there you go, like they would have been like, what are you doing?
I think the dialogue between Liam Neeson and Ralph Fiennes is some of the best I've seen in any movie ever. Those meetings were so tense, yet so drawn out for both their characters. They always walked away with something different, you know, one of them getting their way and one of them not getting their way. And it was so well done.
Yeah. I mean, I felt nervous through watching through the screen for him.
Yeah.
Like the way Liam Neeson like acted it, you couldn't even tell that he was nervous. Like you would think like, no, like I mean, at the end of the day, he was way smarter than him, but so it was kind of like one of those things where he just knew he was smarter than him and he couldn't talk his way out. Like he even like tried to convince him at one point that like letting people live is a better show of power. And he tried it for like an hour. And then
he literally convinced him and getting him out of jail for kissing a Jewish woman. That is so wild.
Yeah.
He was the one backing him. And he hates Jewish people. It is crazy.
Yeah. It's insane that he did that. And then getting into acting, gave it a 9 out of 10. Liam Neeson, Ralph Fiennes, Ben Kingsley were the standouts of the film. They are the three main characters, so it kind of makes sense. Like the other ones are more like, I mean, you got a little bit of like plot context to each of the characters. Like you got like the families together and all that, which I think was also very effective of how they interact with each other and how they cared for each other. And the fact that Oscar Schindler was able to keep them together at the end of the movie. And like people were like, oh, we could choose any 1,000 names. Wasn't it? The generals, he was like, oh, why not any 1,000 names? Why just, he didn't ask why, but he was like, we could just choose any. Like, why does it have to be them? And he was like, oh, them. And it's because he knew that they were family and he wanted to keep families together. Like that was his most important part because I don't know if he thought about this or it's not directly mentioned until like the end of the movie, but like that ended up being able to extend like generations of
Yeah.
families out of it. So,
Yeah. And I mean, even to go as far as to go save the women when their train didn't get routed correctly and they got sent to Auschwitz, even to go all the way there, get them all back on the train and demand that they come back because he knows all their husbands, all their sons are back at his camp.
yep. That's such an insane thing that,
Yeah.
especially like, I, I had a feeling that like they made it safe because that would have been, I don't know, that would have been a gut wrenching like scene if they, because like the shower scene,
Yeah. That
because
was
especially,
terrifying to watch.
yeah, yeah. Because the girls talk about it in like their camp before, like, oh, we heard they shave people's heads and then they let them in a shower just to like actually not. So like they're all scared too, and you can just tell. But then it turns out to just be a shower, that one specifically, and then he ends up pretty much risking everything, spending a lot of money to just get them back again, and really just like a heroic thing for him to do because really risky again.
Yeah.
Sound effects, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Very like small amount of sound effects, but like we've talked about in some other movies that we reviewed, sometimes that's better.
Yeah.
I think a movie like this does not need like a robust like sound effects to it at all. I think it takes away from the movie from that point, especially when it's such a true and like gruesome, like true things that are happening. Adding too much back soundtrack will take away from it. So yeah.
I agree 100%. I think, the depth is in what we're watching. We don't need to hear a soundtrack to really get involved more into the plot. It's right there in front of us, and that's what we're seeing.
Getting into set design, I gave it a 10 out of 10 just because, I mean, just like the overall set of it was, it's really hard to like not rank it, like rate it high when it straight up is based off like the real thing. And it looks exactly how it was. And then like the house over the camp, having just like that command effect from that general who was a psychopath was also very effective because it's like they always felt watched. I mean, right when you can just see them watching them with a sniper rifle and just shooting people that aren't working. It's very effective, like set design and setup and everything.
Yeah, no, the set design was perfect. I mean, and for such a long movie, I don't know how long this took him to film, but obviously we're starting in Poland, going to the camp, moving around the camp, then going to his camp and to Auschwitz. It was done super well, moving around to all those different areas. And, it was really effective at showing us that, how often they were pretty much just moved around like they were just like slaves, basically.
And then, you could get a lot of different set pieces, like the set piece where they're all on the train and like in the heat, and then he puts water on them, and they think it's cruel, but like in reality, he's like actually trying to save their life while and still let them fight for it while they can. Yeah, I think that was also like just interesting set piece itself. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I think he's a great director, like we've talked about, but this is like one of his highlight of his movies. I've never seen this before. This is like the one that I haven't watched, and I'm just shocked that I haven't before, probably because I knew if I watched it, I was going to be really sad. But I'm glad I did because this is definitely one of his greatest movies and very special. And you could tell like he really cared and like took a lot of care and depth into this movie. Editing, gave it again 9 out of 10. It's really hard to hit on really any of these categories. Even though it's a super long movie, there's not any part that I can think of that you take it out and it makes the movie better. I think every single scene matters in this movie and adds to it.
Yeah, I think, a lot of the scenes were really hard to watch, just, to see everything going on. But like you said, he really had the know to make sure that to show the viewer that, right, to get our attention and to really make us care about what's going on. Just the scenes like we mentioned earlier of him just sitting up there and shooting at people just because it was just like so gut wrenching to watch. But like it was so important for us, the viewer, to understand the true depth and nature of what was actually going on.
Yep, exactly. And then lastly, theme, I gave it a 10 out of 10. There's a lot of movies and documentaries about like the Holocaust and World War II. He does another one later with like Saving Private Ryan, like about World War II. But I think this is like one of, if not the best movie about the certain topic, just because I think it's very real, like, and such a key story that like saved generations of Jewish people coming from a family that my on my mother's side has an ancestry of Jewish people that survived the Holocaust. Personally, I feel deeply connected to this theme. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I think theme was great. Oftentimes when you're talking about World War II, you normally go into the Holocaust side or more the war front side. And this definitely, hammers into the Holocaust side. And I think that it just adds such this particular story really grabs what was going on all around Europe at the time. And it just really grabs onto the viewer and drags you into it and makes you feel every corner of what was happening. Did such a great job.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, I gave it 9.3 out of 10 or 93 out of 100. I ranked it really high. Almost a perfect movie for me. I'm surprised I didn't see it until now, but I'm glad I did. Warning you, if you watch this movie, it's going to be well worth it, but like fully expect to be pretty sad for the rest of the day. And it's a very emotional and movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I gave it a 9.0 out of 10. Pretty close to a perfect movie for me too. What a story. What a story to be told. And not only that, like as a director, you get a good story like this, you still have to, perform and make it work in a movie. And it's so.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So we'll move over now to the Fabelmans.
Yeah, let's take a breath, man. That was deep.
Yeah.
Much happier story. The Fabelmans, kind of getting into the plot. So tell me about this, because I feel like you've read a little bit more about this. So it's not a biography about Spielberg. It's kind of his telling of a coming of age story based off of him.
It's like a semi-biography. He said he based a lot of it off of his life, but it's not a direct. Like there's definitely some stuff that are hyperbolized. He specifically says like, do not take this as like me making a movie about myself.
Okay.
He's like, but it's based off of my life. Like me growing up.
Gotcha. So yeah, definitely a coming of age story, following Sammy Fabelman, who, he's kind of growing as he's growing up. His dad takes the movies. He really loves filmmaking, the technicalities of cameras and everything like that. Growing up, there's a lot of different plot points in this, but some of the big ones, obviously, he discovers a little bit of a secret that his mom has, which leads to a whole wreck in the family, basically. But he used his filmmaking to kind of get to the bottom of that, but he also uses his filmmaking to kind of cope with his emotions. So for the plot, I gave it a 7. The only reason I really gave it such a low score is, like I said, there's a lot going on in this movie. Sometimes I felt like it was kind of all over the place, and not necessarily with him growing up. It just felt like when he was a grown-up in high school, the plot really started jumping around a lot between, the differences between him and his dad, differences between him and his mom, differences between him and Seth Rogen's character, differences between him and his girlfriend and what they want their future to look like, and his bullies too. Yeah. It was just starting to jump around to a lot. And at points, I felt like, is this story following Sammy or is it following this person now?
No, it definitely was interesting. That it was like, he seemed like he was trying to go after a bunch of different points of the childhood and like his growing up through high school. I want to say it swung a miss at some points, but I just think it wasn't as in depth or like that, like thoroughly like explained with every single one of the points. Like there's like one point you're like, oh, he's getting bullied. And then like, you don't see him getting bullied for like another 20 to 30 minutes of the movie. And then it brings him back to like the bullies still being upset at them.
Yeah.
After he expresses his film, I'm like, I thought he got over the bullying thing. He's dating one of the popular girls now. Like what?
So what I guess I could say to that is, if I was making a movie about myself, or at least a semi-autobiography, whatever we want to call this, it would be hard for me to tell everything that I would want to put in there. You know what I mean? And so I kind of get it from that perspective with the plot, at least.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's definitely like a little bit happier tone, especially at the end. He's like trying to do his own journey and all that, which apparently that meeting did happen. Like that is actually true, that he had a meeting with John Ford, pretty much said the same exact things to him.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. I mean, it ended up working out for him. So.
Getting into characters, I gave it an 8. Like I kind of talked about, a lot of characters to really dive into here. Paul Dano plays his dad. Then you obviously have Sammy. His siblings are all there, as well as Michelle Williams playing his mother. She kind of carries the most important plot point throughout the movie, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Seth Rogen is his dad's best friend, but also his mom's secret lover. And then Chloe East plays his girlfriend. I thought all the characters were really well done. Like I said, I'm not going to drag into it too much more, but it kind of just felt like the plot was kind of jumping in between Sammy and said other person a lot of different times.
No, I definitely agree. I think the characters were pretty well. I think the mom is like the most well described character in the entire movie, other than Sammy. They really get into like that. At the end of the day, her and the father, obviously he's upset, and she's upset that she's making him upset, but they made that decision together, and it's hard for the kids to understand at that point. And I think he does a good job of explaining that they loved each other, but they understood that they weren't right for each other anymore, and that they both were just going to be upset, like sad with each other if they just try to stick it out just to stick it out, because he knew that she was happier around his friend at that point.
Yeah, no, exactly. The cinematography for this movie kind of stood out to me. I liked a lot of the older techniques he used to make the film look old. Just kind of, I don't know, we were just going in circles. We were watching Spielberg use old effects of Sammy using old effects because that he was in that time. It was kind of neat to see a movie about filmmaking. Was interesting. And the way they used to edit films and stuff like that was pretty cool. But I think that he used the techniques to really create that nostalgic environment, and a lot of it, different scenes look like memories, which I thought was cool, especially from his perspective. I'm sure that was exciting and fun for him.
No, yeah. It's a really well shot movie and really cool, the different parts that he puts into it. Especially like when his mom accidentally punches a hole in the music sheet and then like follows it up with that. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like,
the way it transitioned over.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I see you. That was cool.
So basically the mom punched a hole in the music sheet because she was into playing piano. And, he then realized if he punches a hole in the film, that will make it look like gunshots, because the scene before he was, doing like a cowboy Western movie or something, and the gunshots looked fake because they were just, sitting there, boom, boom. And that was really neat to us. Really getting into dialogue, I gave it an 8. I thought one line really stood out with me was from his uncle. I believe it was his uncle. Yeah. He said, "You do what your heart says you have to, because you don't owe anyone your life, not even me." Or it might have been his mom. I don't remember. Anyway, regardless, the point is, just saying that you should go do exactly what you want to do. You have one life. Live it how you want to live it. Don't worry about anybody else in your life, which is important. But, you still care about people. But yes, you should do exactly what you want to do. I thought that one hit closest with me.
No, yeah, it definitely does, because at a certain point, and even the dad starts to realize that. At first, he was trying to earlier in high school days, being like, no, you have to like try to do something that actually like builds stuff for people, because that's like what he does, what he's really good at. And he's like trying to, like have his son follow his footsteps kind of thing. But he starts to notice that like if he does that, it creates more of a drift in between him and his son. And he also starts to realize how good his son is at doing film. So he's like, oh, he may have like a really big talent. So let him follow it, or else like he'll never want to talk to me again. And like kind of at the end of the day, that's like the hard part of like being a parent, probably, is like know which direction would for sure lead to your kid's success. But if sometimes kids want to do something different, and
you got to let them try and fail.
Yep. It's their own risk at the end of the day.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day too, that's the only way we learn.
Yeah, exactly.
And so getting into set design, I gave it an 8. I thought it was cool. Obviously, they were moving around a lot, but a lot of different sets in this all look good and accurate. Specifically, I always liked how Sammy always found great sets for his movies. Even watching him show the films to people, it was like, oh yeah, that's the perfect set for that. If he was shooting like a Western movie, he was like in the desert hills. It was pretty neat to watch.
Yeah. And then like the skip day too, I thought that was all really cool as well. Just the way they set it up. And then we didn't actually see what the idea was with the ice cream originally. And then you saw it actually in the film, and you're like, oh, that's cool. Not the high school setup of it all too. Yeah, I liked it.
And then getting into acting, I gave it a 7. I think specifically the standouts were Michelle Williams and Gabriel LaBelle and their relationship together. That's Sammy and his mother. I thought those moments when they were together really stood out. And I think it was honestly the best part of the movie. It's the main plot point that stood out to me the most.
Yeah, me too. I think this movie relatively as well, and Paul Dano, I think, is a great actor, but I don't think this movie really highlights some of his better capabilities in an actor. This is a more normal role for him too.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why, because he's known for like doing some really crazy, unique roles, and like this role he's playing a more normal father.
Yeah.
I don't think he's necessarily bad. It's just like maybe it's just different.
You sure Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah, about to say like Quentin Tarantino craps on Paul Dano, but we did There Would Be Blood with him, and this is just more like a normal kind of role. But Michelle Williams is really unique in this role, and really,
I agree. I don't think it was a standout role for Dano and Seth Rogen really either. You know, they're in it, they're kind of there, small plot points, but nothing stood out for them in particular. But again, I don't think it was necessarily them. It's just a different, kind of movie that you're doing. You're kind of telling the story of somebody's life, so it's going to be centered around them, and whatever plot points you have relating to that character is what you get. For directing, I gave it an 8. Well-told story. Again, we kind of talked about it already. I felt like it was kind of jumping around to different plot points sometimes. I don't think this movie needed to be as long as it was. Again, I was explaining how if I was making a movie about me, it'd probably be 10 hours long. And I have so many different things I want to talk about, so it's kind of hard to do that. Yeah,
it's definitely a longer movie that probably could cut off some parts to it. Maybe that's more of an editing thing that gets hit on. But directing wise, I think it's an interesting story to see like one of the greatest filmmakers of all time about his own childhood. And maybe he calls it semi-biography because it's like the way he viewed it. But he's like, you don't want to call it a biography when you're the one making it about yourself. Because like, you're obviously going to be biased at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Making it. Because you can also see that in Sammy's character where he doesn't have that many flaws.
Yeah.
He doesn't show a lot of flaws of his own self, which is like, okay, I'm glad that you didn't just call us like a biography, because it's like, all right, no way a guy in his like high school days is just that good of a person.
Yeah.
Everyone makes their own mistakes and stuff like that. But yeah.
Getting into soundtrack, I gave it a 6. Nothing special. They used it in key parts, especially I did like the moments, obviously showcasing older film, not speakers on the cameras or microphones. So no way to really get sound. So he would, make the films and then put music over those movies. Was really cool to see. Small things like that, just showing how different the times were cool to me.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they did have cameras like that, but not ones that he could afford.
Yeah, not like not low budget movies.
Yeah. So he had to improvise pretty much with what he had to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was well too.
And then
I thought it was all right.
And for theme, I gave it an 8. Sorry. Obviously talking about family dysfunction versus like, his passion as an artist. And then the power of cinema, what we talk about every week, just to really heal and find the truth in and showing one's true identity. A lot of these characters we talk about on a week-to-week basis, and just films in general, and not just us, everybody. I think everybody can kind of relate to characters in movies all the time. I think that was a great touching point. And then the tension between like science and logic with his father, but also art and emotion with his mother.
Yeah. I think a lot of movies touch on like different, like parents' divorces and all that. This time age that it's set in, divorcing and like breaking up like a family like that was not socially very acceptable. I mean, it never really is acceptable, but at the same time, it's back then, like it was really not meant. Like, women were probably really hated on if they did stuff like that. But the fact that the dad was very as respectful as you could be in that moment about it was also really interesting to see as like a theme point. I mean, it's a coming of age story at the end of the day, but I think it's also interesting to see like through somebody that wants to be a filmmaker. I can't recall on the top of my head any really films like this, like a coming of age, specifically about a person that wants to make films.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting as well.
What about Boogie Nights?
That's an actor.
Different kind of film.
Coming of age.
Different kind of film.
Yeah, different kind of film.
But for editing, I gave it an 8. I thought it used pretty cool techniques, like parallel editing, kind of showing in-home movies with, the main narrative.
Yeah.
I like the scene where Sammy discovers his parents' marital issues through edited footage. I thought that was pretty neat. And then just creating emotional depth and reflecting overall on Spielberg's life.
Yeah. I agree. Maybe could have cut off some scenes to make it as long. Overall, I think like editing to add like emphasize some different parts of the scenes were pretty cool.
Yeah. Overall, I gave it a 7.7. Wasn't a crazy high movie for me, but it was good. It was a good story. Yeah. It was a nice family movie. Nothing too crazy going on. It was definitely a sigh of relief after watching Schindler's List. I felt like I could breathe a little bit again.
Yeah.
Just because that movie is so sad. But it was a good movie.
Yeah. I gave it a 7.2 or 72 out of 100. Again, not as high on it, but I think mainly because this movie's good. I just don't think it's anything crazy special, like crazy new. Yeah. And he's made some like really like game changing kind of movies. And this just isn't up to par with some of his other great ones that have really changed genres and changed like the movie scenes.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So we just talked about 2 movies that we haven't seen before, but what we're going to end this podcast with is ranking his top 10 movies of all time, which is going to be incredibly difficult for a guy like Steven Spielberg because he literally is one of the greatest of all time and has so many. He directed 47. I personally have seen 18 of them.
So I'm definitely less than that, but I guess I'm somewhere probably around 13, 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of them I probably wouldn't even. I mean, I just grew up with a bunch of them. I mean, I'm sure we both did, but I am interested to see what you think about like that outside ones. I think there's like a clear top 4, in my opinion, but we'll see.
Okay.
So how we'll do this though is since it is a collaborative ranking, is whoever gets to choose will get picks 1, 4, 5, 7, and 10. So 1, 4, 5, and 7, 10. And then the other player will get 2, 3, 6, 8, 9. And then whoever gets the first round of picks will only have 1 veto, while the person who gets the other ones will get 2 vetoes.
Cool.
Or actually, whoever gets number 1 will get 2 vetoes. Whoever gets 2, 3, and all the other ones will get 1 veto. Because you pretty much at that point choose who's going to get number 1.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do the random name. I won last week, so
I'm feeling lucky.
Yep, it's you. Awesome.
I'll take the number 1 pick.
Okay, so you'll get 2 vetoes.
2 vetoes.
So you got 1, 4, 5. Yep. So you get to start it off.
All right, I'll start it off with. I'll do the Last Crusade. Yeah, let me do the Last Crusade.
Okay.
Indiana Jones. Obviously, this is a good one. Not the best Indiana Jones one, but this is definitely up there with his top movies, I believe. Great for franchise. I know he's done probably 10 different franchises, like huge ones, but
yeah,
I'm a big fan of Indiana Jones.
Yeah. This is interesting because I haven't seen Indiana Jones movies, I swear, in like 10 years. I remember watching them growing up, but I have not resurfaced them for some reason. Yeah. It's not like because I don't like them or anything. It's just, I don't know. It just hasn't been something where if I see that, I'm like, yeah. It's also could be like the Dial of Destiny really put a bad taste in my mouth because I didn't see it. I just heard it was horrible.
So bad.
Yeah.
They like time travel. It's a whole thing.
And then same with like the one with the aliens, I heard not good things about. I watched that one.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is not Dial of the Destiny, but it's not like, it's somewhere in the middle.
It's not as good as the OG3.
Yeah.
Right? The original trilogy. Yeah. Okay. That's about where, honestly, I had that. So we're about on the same page, which is interesting because I feel like I could go a couple of ways. I think here I'm going to go with a personal, I'm going to go with Minority Report.
Okay. I haven't seen this.
A Minority Report, it's pretty much not necessarily a time travel. It's time travel-esque, but it's more so like replaying scenes in their head.
Okay.
And like Tom Cruise is like the main character in it. He keeps trying to go back to like the same scenario to try to save people on a train.
Mm-hmm.
But like technology, it can predict crimes before they're committed. But when they're trying to target him, it's a very complicated thing. It's really hard to explain without you seeing it. I really like it. Tom Cruise is really good in this. Colin Farrell is kind of in it. Yeah, highly recommend it. It's definitely a weirder movie of Spielberg's, I would say. But yeah, the other one that I'm going to put at 8 is going to be another one with Tom Cruise, War of the Worlds.
Okay.
Have you seen this one?
I have not.
Another interesting, it's an alien movie. Spielberg
Yeah.
likes aliens. If you couldn't tell, he has a lot of alien kind of movies, but it's pretty much like them trying to take over the world. They're like, it's like kind of like on the run kind of movie too, that Tom Cruise is like running with. It's Dakota Fanning, but as like a child in the movie, which I think is also interesting. And he just keeps running into different people throughout this while trying to just save his little girl.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It looks really cool too. And it came out in 2005. It looks pretty cool how it was done. Very CGI look, but like back in 2005, you can imagine people were like, oh my God, this is cool. You got number 7.
There's a movie I really like. I probably should have done this number 10. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. People are going to hate, but I'm going to go Ready Player One. Have you seen it?
I had a feeling. Yeah, I have. I like it.
Yeah. I love this movie. I was talking with somebody the other day, and I'm hoping Ready Player 2 becomes a thing. Like, they do it. But I heard that for Ready Player One, it was such a logistical nightmare to get all the IPs, like to be able to use names, image, likeness for the movie, that Spielberg was like pretty much done with it by the time it was over. So who knows if he'll even do Ready Player 2. I'm sure somebody will attempt it, but yeah.
I hope it's him. There's a lot of hate on this movie, which I honestly don't see the hate at all. Like, I really don't understand it. I think it's such a cool looking movie and like really cool to bring in like a bunch of different IPs into like one thing. And the way that they use them is really cool. So I don't understand the hate that it gets.
Yeah, because I mean, you're bringing in a lot of these IPs, but you're also using them for the film. It's not like you're just like putting them in there for product placement. Like the Shining reference, like the whole thing, like that whole 30-minute scene took place in The Shining. That was so cool. And so well done.
Like Iron Giant, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like literally pretty much everything. Other than Marvel. I don't really remember Marvel bringing up at all. But it's probably
it was Warner Brothers, so I don't think they were giving them,
Yeah, makes sense. Warner Brothers at that time didn't want to talk to Marvel, so.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so this next one I think I'm going to go with because you've seen the other ones and you haven't seen this one, but it would be a shame not to put this on here. So I'm going to put Lincoln.
Yeah. Okay.
The other top 5, you've seen all of them, so I really hope you end up going with the 5 that you think I have in mind. I really like Lincoln. Daniel Day-Lewis is Abraham himself. Such an interesting timepiece that he decides to do. And it's also like a lot of these movies that we see with Spielberg are like more like fun kind of esque movies, more action pieces, while Lincoln is like very serious tone about a historical figure.
Yeah.
That was like way different. And very well done. Very well done. Again, I recommend it.
Okay. If we're talking about the same top 5, I think I got 2 fun ones here. Wait, is it my go or your go?
Your go for 5 and 4.
Okay. That's what I thought. So I'm going to go first. Number 5, I'm going to go E.T. Such a great movie. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I definitely need to go back and do it. So well done. So nostalgic for my childhood, but it's crazy to say it's probably nostalgic for like my parents' teenage years too. Yeah. But I watched it all the time growing up as a kid. And that's something I think a lot of people start to recognize with Spielberg.
Yep. I think, I haven't seen this in forever too. Same with like the Indiana Jones movies, but like it's so nostalgic in my head that it would have felt bad not to not put this in the top 5.
Yeah. And then next, might have a disagreement here, but I'm going to go Jaws for 4. Can use it. If you believe it's higher.
I do believe it is higher. So I am going to use the veto right here on Jaws.
Okay. I think I'm going to pick your number 4 here then. And it's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously the first Indiana Jones, by far the best one in my opinion. I think a lot of people agree with that. That's like the overall consensus of it. Such a great movie. Obviously Harrison Ford, such an iconic character, and that was the start of it.
Okay.
I have 2 vetoes left, and I don't even know if I'm going to use them.
Yeah, dude.
I like our list.
Yeah. The problem is I see 4 really good movies that one of them's not going to be in here.
I might not have seen one of them because I have a top 3 that feels pretty strong to me.
You've seen Jurassic Park.
Oh, did we forget about Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
No. TikTok's going to be pissed, dude.
No. We can't. No. Oh my God, no. We fucked up. We fucked up. Which one? I can't. How am I supposed to choose between these?
I would have taken out Ready Player One and put Jurassic Park over that. We just forgot it.
I'm going to make my own rules on the fly and let's do a swap.
All right, we can do a swap.
Oh, dude. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Let's do Jurassic Park at number 7.
Okay.
I don't think I'll be able to live with myself and putting that on any social media platform without Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that would have sucked.
I would personally put Jurassic Park higher, but like at this point, we've already dug our own grave. So it's like, you got to put it
too deep.
Yep, we're in too deep. Sorry, Ready Player One. Jurassic Park's just truly transformative movie. Like brought back dinosaurs, one of the biggest like franchises still today, just all based around dinosaurs, which is interesting.
Did you forget about it too?
No, but
where would you have put it?
I personally wouldn't have put Raiders of the Lost Ark at 4, but I was at
that's
a
my
veto.
4. Yeah.
So that's why.
I'll veto my own at number 7 and put Jurassic Park.
Okay. That's my pick with number 3. Feel a lot better about it, which I'm interested to see where you decide to go with this because you still have one left.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Saving Private Ryan here.
Nah, swap them.
Swap what?
You're going to put Jaws at 3.
Are you videoing this?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to put Jaws then at 3.
Yeah.
Again, the movie that created the term blockbuster.
Yeah.
Really great for its time. The soundtrack is really still iconic every time you put it on. It's also something about his movies, Jurassic Park and E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jaws, all those movies. Once you hear it, you know what movie it's from.
Yeah. And John Williams is a huge thanks to that.
Yeah. Very, very good. Made people terrified of sharks when realistically you could probably have a higher chance of dying from a vending machine than a shark. But this movie made everyone way more scared of sharks than vending machines. So
yeah.
Number 2, you're out of vetoes now. So
yeah, I get
to decide your own fate. I'm putting Saving Private Ryan here.
Yeah. It's the right pick.
Yeah. I like Saving Private Ryan a lot. Very iconic film. Yeah. There's not much else to say other than the opening scene itself is so realistic that World War II veterans were told probably not to go to the movies to go watch it.
Yeah.
Because of how realistic it was.
Yeah. Great movie. The only reason I chose to move Jaws to 3, I haven't seen Jaws in a while. If I watched it again, I might tell you the opposite. Mm-hmm. But honestly, anything in this top 10, you could probably rip around and it would be fine. And then obviously number 1, I'm going to go Schindler's List. After watching that again this week, it was just such a well done and amazing movie. I think that's probably what you had too, right?
Yeah. I think this is like his perfect movie. It's really hard because realistically for me, trying to make sure that I have Schindler's List and Jaws. I both have a personal 5 stars. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. With Jurassic Park, Saving Private Ryan, Lincoln as 4.5, and then the rest of them 4. But yeah, I like our list after we made the switch. Yeah, I personally have Raiders of the Lost Ark a little bit lower, but again, that's probably because I haven't seen it forever. I feel like if I rewatch it, maybe I'll have it higher.
You should go back. They're really fun movies. Yeah. I mean, just like the other 3 franchises we mentioned, like big franchises. Yeah, fun movies.
Yeah, I mean, I rewatch Jurassic Park probably every year, so I think that's probably why I would like it a little bit more. But because it's like the one movie I go back to a lot. Because I like dinosaurs.
One I also had in my personal top 10 was Catch Me If You Can. I thought that was a great one too.
I think I've seen it, but I think I have to rewatch it because I could not tell you a single plot point of that movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, this top 10 is very reminiscent of mine. Yeah, almost exactly like mine. So
yeah,
pretty happy with it.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening this week. Yeah, it's fun talking about Steven Spielberg. Next week, we are going to be talking about Christmas movies. So that'll be interesting to do within season. And then, of course, we'll end it off with the Christmas draft, which I'm also looking forward to because there's a lot of Christmas movies.
Sweet.
Thanks for listening.